got a slip in your palm and a hole in your chest. Black coffee on the felt, man, you look like a mess. 3-team parlay turned to dust in your hand. Now you stare at the chips like they made you this man. But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now. Hold on, hold on. Not tonight, not now. Hold on. Let me pull you out. That bell bites hard, but it don't get the crown.
What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you. Toadstool Sports. It is Saturday, August 22nd. We went 1-1 on the show yesterday, so the streak ended at 7. Not too happy about that, and I mean, we should have won both games. Probably the under in Texas Anaheim was really, really easy. It was a 0-0 game at the end of 9 innings. Can't get much better than that. And then, luckily, even though it went into extra innings, it would have taken a lot to get over 7.5. So, luckily, that did not happen. I would have been extremely angry if it was 0-0 and went over in extra innings. I mean, it would have been one of the worst beats of all time. But it ended in the 10th inning. I think Texas won 2-1, I'm pretty sure. Chicago Cubs looked like they were, like, right out of the gate. It looked really good. They were winning 3-0 in the first inning, and then nope, they're down 4-3 in the second inning. They fell down 5-3. They literally did not score again until the 8th inning. They scored in the 8th and the 9th to tie the game, and it's like, dude, just don't even tease me anymore. You know what I mean? Just to lose in extra innings. So by 1, 6-5, don't tease me like that. Don't blow a 3-0 lead and then tease me like you're going to come back and win. Whatever. Still on a nice mini run here, though. We'll talk about today, and I don't know about today's board, man. I have one play, and I don't even know if it's a good one, and the number that I want isn't even really out there yet, so I'll put it in the description what I wind up doing with it, but we can go through what we have for today here. We have a lot of baseball here, obviously. Toronto and the Yankees is the first game up in afternoon baseball. We have 3 afternoon games here. Yankees won yesterday, unfortunately. They've won 5 games in a row here. They won 3-1 yesterday. If there's going to be a game where Toronto might be able to get this game, though, although I know Toronto won the last series they had against the Yankees, but you'd think that this pitching matchup would be the best one in the series for Toronto here because Dylan Cease is on the mound here, although they actually lost the last time. Cease was on the mound against the Yankees, which I think was the last time he pitched. Yankees used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Toronto used 5. Yankees have the better bullpen, ranked second. They're one of 2 bullpens with a sub-3 ERA right now, the other one being the Red Sox, of course. Toronto is mediocre out of the bullpen, 16th. Yankees have not been that good offensively recently. They're 18th right now overall, tied with the Phillies. Better than Toronto, though. Toronto 27th right now, though, as they've climbed out of the complete basement. So at least there's that. Dylan Cease, like I said, pitching for Toronto here. Really good season for him. 2.42 ERA, 1.06 whip. He's really good on the road. 1.71 road ERA. Pitched well in that start against the Yankees last time out, despite not getting the win there. Double-digit strikeouts in 2 of his last 3 starts, too, including that one. He's still on a roll. I mean, we know he's one of the better pitchers in baseball. He's got a low hit rate, low walk rate, high strikeout rate. Strikeout per 9, is also going to be good, and his strikeout walk ratio also good. All those things are good. Against the Yankees, he is also good generally. 95 at-bats, 31 strikeouts, 13 walks, 168 average, 500 OPS allowed. So I expect him to pitch well here. Ryan Weathers pitching for the Yankees here. I mean, I guess the better matchup would have been if for Toronto. I guess the best possible matchup would be if they drew Will Warren here, but they drew Ryan Weathers. He's okay, 3.56 ERA, 1.19 WHIP. He's actually a little bit worse at home, 3.93 home ERA. He's been pretty good in the month of August, though. He's only allowed 2 runs in his last 3 starts, actually in his last 4 starts, if you include the last start of July, and only 3 earned runs in his last 5 combined. He's got a pretty low hit rate on the season, doesn't really walk anybody either, and his strikeout rate is actually pretty good as well. So Weathers actually does have pretty good numbers. It's been a career year for him, really. Pretty good strikeout walk ratio there. Strikeout per 9, pretty high as well. All that's good. Numbers against Toronto are actually not quite as good, though. Mediocre in 66 at bats, 258 average, 764 OPS, 16-2 strikeout walk ratio. I'm not doing anything with this game, but I think possibly the under could be worth a look here, but you're looking at only one book out there. It looks like they're throwing a 7 up there right now. Although I guess the F book that is a failed merchandiser quality-wise, they look like they have a 7 with a heavy under juice on it. 6.5 mostly here. Odds makers are telling you they think it's going to be a really low-scoring game. I see the argument for it, but you know me. Like, I don't like going under anything that's below a 7, even though the odds makers are kind of trying to get you to shy away from playing that under there. 83% of tickets, 67% of the cash on the over, so the money appears to be indicating on the under. I would slightly lean Toronto as well, but the money looks like it's slightly indicating towards the Yankees. 53% of tickets on Toronto, 53% of the cash on the Yankees. Yankees are a very small favorite here. It's like a pick-em price. They dropped from initially being favored in the minus 120s. I think if you play Toronto, I think you should make it a first 5 play, though, because they do not have a bullpen advantage here. So I think those are the 2 ways to look at the game, under or Toronto first 5, but I don't really love it. Atlanta and Milwaukee, I looked at the starting pitching matchup, and I was like, oh, yeah, Milwaukee has a big edge here, but you're going to have to pay for it. And also, I think Atlanta actually changed the starter in this game, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see here. Yeah, it was going to be Bryce Elder, but now it's going to be Martin Perez. But either way, I think Milwaukee is going to win this game. It's just a matter of should you pay the price for this. Milwaukee used 2 relief pitchers yesterday. Atlanta used 2 as well. These are 2 good bullpens here. They had a pitching duel of a game yesterday with Mizurowski, I believe, beating Cease by 1 run yesterday, 2-1. So it was a very low-scoring game. It did go under the 6 if you did do that. But yes, both bullpens used 2 relief pitchers yesterday, I believe. Was that right? I think so. Yes. Atlanta's bullpen has been one of the better ones all year. They're number 3, Milwaukee number 6, and Milwaukee has a better ERA, though. So I think you're looking at 2 top 5 bullpens here, probably. So the bullpens are good. Both offenses generally are pretty good, although Atlanta not so much recently. They're 14th right now overall. The Brewers 7th, so the Brewers are a little bit better. Martin Perez is going to be getting the start as far as the actual board is saying, so we can handicap it as if he is starting because I think he will be. He's listed as their number 2 starter in the depth chart, which is kind of ridiculous. Although he's had a good season, 3.15 ERA, 1.19 WHIP. He's not that good on the road, though. 4.59 road ERA. Struggled last time out at Minnesota. Isn't really striking out a lot of guys. I mean, you kind of know what you're going to get out of him. He's an old-timer, like a junk pitcher, although he's had a good season, so you got to give him credit for that. Advanced analytics guys really don't like him because he doesn't strike guys out. His hit rate is definitely low, so he doesn't allow a lot of hits, but he does walk a few too many guys and, again, doesn't strike guys out, which isn't really that great. Strikeout walk ratio is actually pretty bad, below 2. So that combination of lack of strikeouts and high walks is not great there. Strikeout per 9 is fairly low as well. He's going up against Logan Henderson, who is really good for Milwaukee, and I think still kind of an under-the-radar pitcher, although you do have to pay for him today if you really want to try to play him. He's been really good with Milwaukee, 2.7 ERA this year, 0.87 WHIP, really good. He's a little bit better at home in some ways, too, 2.42 home ERA, although his home road splits are not really too significant, but he's not allowing many runs at all. He's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in every start on the entire season. Milwaukee's won all but 2 of them, I think, or all but 3 of them. He's got a low hit rate, low walk rate, high strikeout rate. Basically everything you want in a pitcher here, like really high strikeout walk ratio. Strikeout per 9 also high, and he has not faced the Braves before, so the Braves will be at a little bit of an extra disadvantage with the unfamiliarity because they haven't seen Henderson before. So I think the way to play this game has to be playing Milwaukee in some way, but you do have to pay a price for it, and I don't think I'm really willing to do that. They're in the minus 160 range here, and money is coming in towards Atlanta. 73% of tickets on Milwaukee, 60% of the cash on Atlanta, so the money is coming in towards Atlanta. I should have brought Perez back up because the other thing is I didn't look at his matchup numbers here. I did earlier, but his matchup numbers are not good against Milwaukee, but let me bring that up. Hold on. Yes. Milwaukee has a 281 average, 850 OPS, and 89 at bats against him with a 15-7 strikeout walk ratio. So, again, it's Milwaukee or pass for me in this one. Yeah, the money is coming in towards Atlanta for whatever reason. Total's somewhat low. It's around 8, and the money is coming in on the under. So I guess the feeling is that maybe it would be potentially another low-scoring game. And if it is, maybe the underdog at a price like that does have a chance. But, yeah, for me, it looks like it's Milwaukee's game to lose. So I would lean Milwaukee towards like making a -1 run line or something, but I'm not going to do it. Fox Sports 1 has Washington and Miami. Miami won the game yesterday in a return home spot. They still won 3-2 yesterday. Miami will be the better bullpen here. Washington used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. Miami also used 4. Miami is ranked 9th right now out of the bullpen. I still think they're a little bit worse than that, but better than Washington. Washington's 26th. Washington's the number 2 offense still, and Miami is, where are they? 10th. So 2 pretty capable offenses here in this one. Jake Irvin pitching for Washington. Not great. 5.8 ERA, 1.36 whip. He did spend some time injured this season. He is back right now. Then he's been better on the road. 4.6 road ERA with a below 200 batting average allowed on the road. So he's definitely better on the road. He's a guy who kind of walks too many guys. That's usually his main issue. His strikeout rate is decent. His hit rate is decent as well, but he walks too many guys. So he has some talent, but he's got to fix his command, man. He hasn't really been able to do that at this up to this point in his career. 4 seasons in now. So not great strikeout walk ratio there. Strikeout per 9 is at its highest this year, though. So he is striking out more guys than he has before. Miami's had some good numbers off him, but they only have 4 hitters who have faced him, 11 at bats. Small sample here, 455 average, 1,000 OPS. So even though Irvin is in the better of his home road splits here, his numbers don't look very good against Miami. I know it's a small sample size. I don't think I'd really want to back him here. Yuri Perez is pitching for Miami. He's been pretty good. He's the better of the 2 pitchers here at this point. 3.23 ERA, 1.11 whip. He's good at home. 2.9 home ERA. Although his home opponent batting average is actually a little bit higher than it is on the road. He's starting to have some walk issues again, which has been the main issue with him throughout his career, is his command. Walked 5 guys last time up, but he didn't allow any earned runs against Cincinnati. He hasn't allowed any earned runs in his last 2 starts, in fact. He's been pretty good, though, for the most part. He's got a low hit rate on the season. Walk rate is not as bad as it usually is from him, and his strikeout rate is pretty high, so those numbers do look pretty good. Strikeout walk ratio is actually not as good as it has been in the past. I think his strikeout rate is actually a little bit lower this year than it usually is, which is interesting. So maybe he's changed the way that he's pitched a little bit, although it doesn't look like it's that much lower. But for whatever reason, his walk number I thought was a bit lower than it usually is, but it looks like maybe not. Maybe my math that I'm doing in my head, there's something off with it. I don't know, man. It's stroke brain. Against Washington, though, Perez is not good. In 37 at-bats, 297 average, allowed 982 OPS. Doesn't look great, man. So when I'm looking at this game, I'm thinking it could be an over, but it looks like the odds makers really kind of think otherwise. Like they think it's a low-scoring game. The total actually kind of surprised me that it's 7.5. I was expecting it to be like 8, 8.5. 7.5 seems kind of crazy. Money is coming in on the over. 61% of tickets, 74% of the cash on the over. Little bit of money maybe on Miami, although they are public. 82% of tickets, 85% of the cash on them. I know, Miami is fighting to make the playoffs here. Washington basically isn't. Miami at about minus 180 here. Yeah, I don't have a good read on the side here, although the price probably looks a little bit too heavy given how bad Perez's numbers are against Washington. But yeah, I think the over is what my lean would be in this game, even though the total's low, and usually low total means that you want to expect it to be a low-scoring game. But in this case, you saw the pitching matchup numbers there. There are multiple things that could happen to get this game to go over the total, including, getting some runs off of the bullpens here too, especially Washington. So it is a pitcher-friendly park, but yeah, I think over might be the way to look. And as I forgot to point out with Toronto and Yankees, even though Toronto's probably going nowhere this year, they will still get up for a game against the Yankees if that wasn't, clear. All right, St. Louis, Philadelphia. Philadelphia's won 6 games in a row, I think, 7 games in a row. Yeah, I think it's 7 now. They beat St. Louis 7-6 yesterday. Close game. I think it was a walk-off win. I think Baum had a walk-off, not a home run, a walk-off single. I believe it was an extra inning game. But hold on, I'm looking at Pittsburgh. Philadelphia did use a lot of bullpen arms, though. They used 5. Am I right that it was extra innings? Yes, I am. So usually after an extra inning game, I want to look more towards an over than anything else because the bullpen usage will have been pretty high. St. Louis used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. They're not good bullpens either. Philadelphia is 18th. St. Louis is 21st. And St. Louis's ERA is actually a little bit better, but they're both not great bullpens, and I would avoid them in this game given the usage and the fact that they're not that good. Philadelphia is 18th offensively, as I already mentioned, tied with the Yankees. St. Louis is 24th. So Philadelphia is the better offense here, and they are better at home. Andre Payante was supposed to pitch this game, but he's hurt, so he is not going to be pitching. It is going to be Quinn Matthews, I'm pretty sure, for St. Louis, who made one start, I think, a little while ago, and they're bringing him back up here. I don't even know if he's listed on the roster here right now. Let me see. Looks like he's not. I think they have to call him back up. So I think I could bring him up if I search for him here. Yeah. So Quinn Matthews has a 3 ERA, 1.56 whip. This is his first season in the majors. He's actually made 2 starts. And, of course, that whip is a lot higher than his ERA would suggest. So the whip suggests that his ERA should be higher, I should say. He's had some issues with walks so far. I mean, he's pitched 9 innings so far. He hasn't really allowed many runs. As you can see, he pitched at Toronto and at Cincinnati so far. So he hasn't faced a great offense yet, but Philly's not that great either. But they're probably the better offense that he's faced so far. 10 strikeouts, 6 walks in 9 innings so far, with 8 hits allowed. So, again, the walks have been the real issue with him. It looks like he does strike guys out, and he will have an unfamiliarity edge here, at least against Philadelphia, so they won't have seen him before, so that'll be a little bit of an edge to him, perhaps. It looks like Andrew Painter. It was going to be AP versus AP, man, and now it's not. Andre Payante had to get hurt. We're going to get Andrew Painter, it looks like, will start for Philly, which is probably not a good thing. He's a rookie, but he has not been good. 6.43 ERA, 1.55 whip. He's been even worse at home in some ways. 6.59 home ERA, although opponent batting average actually a little bit lower at home. He's having some walk issues here again recently, even though he's not allowing as many runs for the most part recently. The last time out he did against Minnesota wasn't really good there. He's allowed way too many hits on the season. His walk rate's not really good either. Strikeout rate is kind of low. None of those numbers are good. So strikeout per 9, strikeout walk ratio, none of that is really good. However, St. Louis has seen him a little bit, 16 at bats, and they haven't done well. 125 average, 451 OPS, 6-3 strikeout walk ratio. But since St. Louis has now seen him once, it's possible they know what to expect now, and they'll do better this next time because I believe they just saw him. Yeah, they just saw him 2 starts ago on August 10th. So a lot of times when that happens and the hitting is unfamiliar to that pitcher and they don't do well, they face them again for the second time right away. A lot of times they do better. So I think St. Louis possibly could be a lean here, but this is a hard game to figure out, man. It's kind of unpredictable. The money looks like it's kind of indicating on Philly, though. They're at minus 130 or so here, 72% of tickets, 92% of the cash on Philly. I don't love Philly here, man. I would be leaning a little bit towards St. Louis, and it looks like the ticket and cash percentage is a little bit public towards the over, with 8.5 being the total. I don't have a good read on the total either, man. I mean, if Painter can actually match up well against St. Louis and you get the unfamiliarity edge from the rookie Matthews on the other side, it could be a lower scoring game than maybe people would think, but both pitchers could also do poorly here, and it could go over. I mean, I think there's a lot of variance in this game, so it's a very risky game to play, in my opinion. I don't really have a great read on it. Tampa and Baltimore. Baltimore won the game 5-3 yesterday after I think they were losing early in the game. They might have been losing 3-0, so they pulled a Chicago Cubs, perhaps, or Tampa pulled a Chicago Cubs yesterday. Freddie Peralta, again, was not great. I don't know what's going on with him, man. Tampa only used one relief pitcher yesterday, though. Baltimore used two, so some light usage there. Tampa Bay is ranked 4th out of the bullpen, although I don't think they're really that good because their ERA is above 4, but they're not bad. Baltimore is 12th and have a better ERA, actually, but not by much. As far as the hitting, Tampa Bay is the better offense. They're 6th. Baltimore is 16th, tied with the A's. Tampa Bay, I think, does have a potential bounce back here, especially because they have a better starting pitcher on the mound here. Even though Baltimore, they're going to get up. Baltimore is technically not eliminated, but they're going to get up for a game against a divisional foe like this, And I think St. Louis is still getting up for their games too, like play spoiler against one of the named teams in the National League, whatever. But yes, I think motivation is not really a concern in these games. But Shane McClanahan is pitching for Tampa Bay here. He's had a good season, 3.25 ERA, 1.12 whip, although he's not as good on the road, 4.31 road ERA. So he's a little bit more fadeable on the road. I think he missed about 2 weeks, and then he came back, and he wasn't really good against Baltimore last time out. So maybe he'll bounce back and pitch better this time. I know Baltimore just saw him, but they've seen a lot of him, and I think maybe he was shaky, trying to work his way back from injury or something, even though he hadn't been away for that long. And I tend to like veterans like him in a spot like that, but he didn't really do that well, although Tampa won the game. But I think he might do better this time out. His numbers are generally pretty good against Baltimore in 44 at-bats, 250 average, 714 OPS allowed. So that's not too bad. Brandon Young is pitching for Baltimore. 3.52 ERA, but his whip 1.35 is not very good. He's got a 3.39 home ERA, so he is a little bit better at home. He's not pitching well recently, though. Too many walks in his last few starts. Not really going deep into some of these outings, so he's kind of fallen into bad form here recently. His hit rate is right around 1 per inning, which is very average. His walk rate is mediocre. His strikeout rate is not really that good either. So Young, I think, might be actually a little bit worse than his ERA makes him look, although I've said some nice things about him on the show this year, but maybe it's time to not do that. Strikeout walk ratio for him is just okay. It's actually, it's a little bit low, I would say. Strikeout per 9, not really that good either. Young against Tampa Bay, these are some ugly numbers here. 25 at-bats, 400 average, 1284 OPS, 4-2 strikeout walk ratio. So I would lean Tampa Bay in this game. The money seems like it agrees with this. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I should add this as a play. I'm thinking about it. 78% of tickets, 89% of the cash on Tampa here. So it looks like the money agrees, even though they're a public side. They're in the minus 120-something range, which is honestly not really that bad of a price. I don't know. The bullpen-wise, maybe you want to keep the bullpens out and maybe just go with Tampa in the first 5. You could do that as well, because I think the bullpens might be a little bit of a wash, but maybe Tampa has a little bit of a bullpen edge as well. I'm considering it because it does seem like kind of a bounce back for them. Let me look. Let me see what the best price is that we can get here on the Rays. Yeah, it looks like the money is kind of agreeing with this. You can get minus 122 on the full game. First 5 is a little bit pricier at minus 130. Yeah, you know what? All right. I don't know what I was thinking, man. But yeah, let's just do it. Let's just play Tampa on the money line here. Sorry, I'll add that as a play. Oh, no. All right. I mean, I've said I don't like the board today, so, but that one I think might make some sense. Anaheim and Texas, we got the underwrite yesterday as we're in the evening slate of games here now. We have been for the last couple games. Texas with a 2-1 win yesterday. I don't really love these two bullpens, although I did factor them in yesterday. But if you went full game or first five, didn't matter. The under won for you yesterday regardless. Texas used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. Anaheim used 4 as well. Don't love these two bullpens. I don't love the usage as much as I did yesterday because the usage was less coming in from the day before that. Texas 19th in bullpen. They've been a disappointment. Anaheim wasn't really expected to be very good, and they're 22nd, although their ERA is actually a little bit better, believe it or not. Don't think I want to trust the bullpens in this one today. These offenses are bad, though. That was part of the handicap yesterday. Texas 22nd, Anaheim 28th, tied in last, actually, with Cleveland and Seattle. It's just they're in a bunch there at the bottom. This one, I would not want to be playing it under here, though, with Ryan Johnson pitching for Anaheim here. He's not had a good season. I think he's a rookie, 6.41 ERA, 1.54 whip. None of that is good. He pitched a little bit last year, but I don't know if it qualified as rookie season or not. He's been really bad on the road, 8.2 road ERA. None of that is good. He's not allowing that many runs recently, but he's not going deep into his outings. He's improved a little bit, but it's really not much. I mean, a 10-9 strikeout walk ratio this month, even though he's not allowing many runs. The command has really not been good, so it's been misleading that he hasn't allowed that many runs recently. He has a high hit rate here. His walk rate's too high. His strikeout rate's not high enough, so none of these numbers are good. Low strikeout walk ratio, pretty low strikeout per 9. None of that looks good. However, Texas doesn't hit him well so far. In 16 at-bats against them, they have a 188 average, 715 OPS against them, 6-2 strikeout walk ratio. So Johnson, I mean, I guess he could potentially match up well here. Cody Bradford is pitching for Texas. I think he's the better pitcher. He missed all of last year with an injury, but he was pretty strong in 2024. So far this year, 2.93 ERA across 3 starts, but a 1.43 whip isn't really that good. He's put too many guys on base so far, mostly actually by being too hittable. His walk rate is not amazing, but his strikeout rate has actually gone down a little bit, I believe, this year. So his strikeout rate's not really that good so far, but it is a small sample size. So maybe you got to give him a little bit of a pass for that right now because generally he's been a better strikeout pitcher, but maybe he's not recovering well from his injury. Who knows? It's possible his stuff is kind of diminished after that, although he's not really that old. I kind of think he's going to return to some sort of form here, though. Although we will see, because some of these stats here so far for him have been worrisome, and he did actually face Anaheim in here as well, and he only had 1 strikeout in that one in 7 innings, but he only allowed 3 runs, so he wasn't exactly horrible in that start. His numbers against them are mediocre. They have 33 at-bats against them, 273 average, 718 OPS. I mean, you might be able to make an argument for an under here again, in that the hitting just isn't that good. The total's a bit higher in this one at 8.5. The money seems to be kind of indicating that way. 91% of tickets and only 87% of the cash on the over. So it seems like a public over with some of the money indicating against it a little bit. I mean, both pitchers do have decent matchup numbers, so I could see the argument for an under. I would probably limit it first 5 here, though, because I don't like the bullpens, but I don't like the starting pitching enough to do it either, man. Yeah, I mean, the pitching is definitely questionable here, so this is definitely a pass for me. And the money lines in the minus 160s here dropped a little bit on Texas. They're public, 85% of tickets, although 87% of the cash on them. But it looks like some of the real money did come in against them at some point. But I think Texas does still have the better pitching here with Bradford on the mound and whatever. Texas is the more motivated team here trying to make the playoffs, although Anaheim is definitely still motivated and trying to play spoiler here. And I think the odds makers know that Texas needs to win, so that's why they're lined so heavily on the money line here. So, yeah, probably it is a bit too much of a price to lay with Texas here in kind of an unknown situation. So, just a game where you don't really know what you're going to get out of the pitchers. So, in that way, yeah, I guess I could see maybe some value being on Anaheim, but I don't want to back Johnson, man. I don't want to do it. A's Houston. Houston got a really nice start from Wisniewski yesterday. Bounced back from an ugly loss to Anaheim the game before that. They beat the A's 4-0 yesterday. The A's are awful. I mean, they might be the worst team in baseball. They can't do anything at this point. Their hitting isn't good. Their starting pitching isn't good. Relief pitching isn't good. The A's used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Houston definitely has the better bullpen. They used 4 guys yesterday. Houston is ranked 10th in bullpen. The A's are dead last. The A's are 29th still somehow, but they're the worst bullpen. Their ERA is horrific. So Houston clearly has a bullpen edge. They do have an offensive edge as well. They're ranked 9th. The A's are 16th, tied with Baltimore, but the A's have been pretty bad recently. And the starting pitching here doesn't do the A's many favors either. With Jacob Lopez pitching, he's not had a good season. 5.22 ERA, 1.53 whip, really bad. He's better on the road, though, at least in some ways. 4.95 road ERA. His opponent batting average is actually higher on the road, though. I don't know if I could totally make sense of that, but generally you would think that pitching better on the road makes sense because the A's ballpark is extremely hitter-friendly. Lopez has been better in the month of August, though. You got to give him credit for that. He's allowed 2 runs in each of his starts in August, going at least 5 innings in all of them with a 20-4 strikeout walk ratio. So he's in pretty good form right now, even though he's had a terrible season. I don't think he's a good pitcher, but current form does look good. His hit rate is a bit too high, though. His walk rate is also too high. Strikeout rate is just okay, so none of those numbers look very good. As I accidentally click on different games here, yeah, he has a low strikeout walk ratio here. It was much higher last year. Last year he was actually fairly serviceable, but this year he's been awful, so I don't know, man. Although he is seemingly coming into a little bit of form right now. Last year, strikeout per 9 was quite high. This year, not so much. Very mediocre. But yeah, strikeout walk ratio is a problem because of the walks here. He is actually good against Houston generally, though, in 35 at-bats, 200 average, 619 OPS. So Lopez might actually do well against Houston here. Hunter Brown is pitching for Houston. He's had some walk issues here, man. He's a good pitcher. He's talented, but he's trying to come back from injury. He's had some pretty significant command issues this year. 3.67 ERA, not too bad, but 1.3 whip, not that good. And we've seen much better out of him in the recent couple of seasons. So I think he might come around at some point, but right now he's a little bit hard to back because he's so wild, and he has not been that good at home. 4.1 home ERA, and a lot of that is because of the walks. His opponent batting average is very low, so he still is pretty much unhittable, but his walk rate is just way too high, even over his recent starts, which Houston has lost every start he's made in the month of August, although not necessarily his fault because he hasn't allowed that many runs, but his walk rate's been way too high. His hit rate is good. He's pretty much unhittable, like I said, but he walks a ton of guys this year. Gets out of it somewhat with a lot of ground balls, but and does have a high strikeout rate. But the walk rate is so high that even though his strikeouts per 9 is high, his strikeout walk ratio is still really bad this year. So that is the issue with him. He is generally good against the A's, but they only have 5 hitters who have faced him. 49 at-bats, 16 strikeouts, 2 walks, 204 average, 562 OPS. I mean, Houston should have the upper hand here in this matchup. Like, they have the better pitcher on the mound, but Lopez is in the better form here, and you're laying a huge price if you want Houston. Minus 230 here, 90% of tickets, 94% of the cash on them. It's a giant total, man. So a giant money line, excuse me. The total's not giant. The total's at 8. But yeah, that money line is gigantic. So I don't know, man. Hunter Brown, it seems like the odds makers are still kind of treating him like he's the pitcher that we've seen the last couple of years. Maybe he isn't at this point, though. And they also disrespect the A's big time. I think the odds makers have the A's probably as the worst team in baseball. I mean, they just got swept by the Royals. They still haven't won a game over the last, 5 or 6 games, whatever. But I think Houston, they're just unplayable at this price. The money is coming in on the over 8. So, I could see some arguments for that, but the starting pitching, the matchup numbers actually look like it could be an under, like a first 5 under, because both pitchers actually do well against these opposing offenses. So I think I might lean first 5 under in that game, but it seems extremely dangerous. I wouldn't do it, and the money looks like it likes the full game to go over, which, if you're going to go under, you got to avoid the A's bullpen, of course. So those are my thoughts on that game. Not great thoughts, I know. Mets and the White Sox. The Mets blew the game in that one yesterday. The Mets were winning that game, I think 3-0, and they pulled the Cubs as well. I mentioned I liked the Mets in the game yesterday. They did not do well later in the game, man. They blew it, even though they have the better bullpen out of these two, I think, by a bit. The White Sox hit 3 home runs in a row late in the game, and then they wound up winning the game 6-4 and overcoming the early deficit. Yeah, not a great game for the Mets here. Mets used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. The White Sox do have a little bit more to play for here because they're still trying to win their division, whereas the Mets are kind of just playing out the stretch. But the Mets did look like they were trying to win yesterday at the very least. The White Sox used 3 relief pitchers. Mets are still the better bullpen. They're ranked 5th. I don't think they're quite that good, but they're pretty good. The White Sox are 14th, although the White Sox bullpen ERA isn't that much worse. So the bullpens, there isn't a huge gap between the two, I don't think. White Sox are the better offense. They're 11th. The Mets, 25th. So the Mets have gotten a little bit better at least. Christian Scott getting the start for the Mets here. He's been decent, 3.51 ERA. I backed him a couple times on the show this year. 1.29 whip is getting a little bit high, though. So it seems like he does have a little bit of he has a command issue, I would say. I'm pretty sure. Like a little bit of a walk issue. He's a little bit worse on the road ERA-wise, 3.61. But his opponent batting average is actually better on the road. And he's still pitching pretty well over his last few starts. Like the Mets won all of them. One of them wasn't really great against Atlanta, and they backed him with a lot of run support. I think we got a win in that game, backing the Mets in the first 5, I think, even though they kind of almost blew it or something, if I remember correctly. Or it might have been a push. I don't know. I forget. 20-5 strikeout walk ratio this month for Scott is pretty good, though. He's got a low hit rate. His walk rate is too high, though. Strikeout rate is not too bad. So his strikeout rate is actually pretty good. He's striking out a lot of guys, actually. Strikeout walk ratio is still not bad because the strikeout rate is so high, but his walk rate is a little bit high. White Sox basically haven't seen him. Only Doyle has faced him before. He's 1 for 2. No walks, no strikeouts. So I lean more towards Scott pitching well here, though, because he's facing a team that's unfamiliar with him, and he's generally been pretty good. I guess one thing you do have to worry about is his innings count at this point because he's a young guy. So you got to take into account that he's throwing more innings, but his innings pitched is not even that high at all. So I don't think you really have to worry about that either. Luis Castillo is on the other side here for Chicago. He got traded from the Mariners around the trade deadline. He hasn't had the greatest season here, man. Although, if you look at his career, he's better than what he's done this year. A 4.99 ERA, 1.37 whip, not that good. He's been a better home pitcher, but a lot of that is because he was pitching in Seattle, which is a very pitcher-friendly park. So 4.35 home ERA, but I don't know if that's going to translate to Chicago or not. However, he's pitched 3 times with Chicago, had only 1 good start, and it was an excellent start, and it was here at home against the Reds. The other 2 starts, though, didn't go too well at Boston and at the Chicago Cubs. So I don't know what to really expect out of Castillo here, but his hit rate is too high on the season. His walk rate is okay. His strikeout rate is okay. So the strikeout walk ratio is okay. It's mediocre. Strikeout per 9, kind of mediocre as well. He's been a bit too hittable this year, though. The Mets have actually been able to hit him well in 82 at-bats, 305 average, 817 OPS. 16-3 strikeout walk ratio. I'm going to lean to the Mets in this one again. I feel like I'm a broken record with that. And it almost looks too easy to play the better team, which is the White Sox, and the team that everybody knows hits better and is trying to make the playoffs. So it looks too easy to lay like a small price, minus 114 or whatever. To me, it looks too easy to do that with the White Sox. But the money seems like it is actually backing the White Sox. 60% of tickets, 94% of the cash on them. And money also backing the over 8.5 here. I wouldn't do it. I would lean to the Mets, like I said. I think you have the better starting pitcher on the mound with a better matchup, possibly at least. Yeah. I don't think I have much else to say on that game, but yeah, that would be my lean there. San Francisco and Boston. This one almost made my card, and I guess it still might if I go through this and I like what I'm seeing here. This game's going to be on Fox, and this is a very bad pitching matchup, so that might give you a bit of a hint as to what I'm thinking about this game. The Red Sox won yesterday 6-4. They had a 5-1 lead, and Sonny Gray made a mistake basically and he allowed 2 home runs actually. I think maybe back to back, and then all of a sudden it was a 5-4 game. But the Red Sox bullpen came through yesterday, so that league leading bullpen, even though they have a bunch of injuries right now, they got they saved the game yesterday, including Chapman, but it means he's probably unavailable in this game today. But the Red Sox still do have a better bullpen than San Francisco. And, of course, there's a little bit of a rivalry thing going on here, so both teams, I think, are showing up for that reason, even though San Francisco doesn't have much to play for here. Otherwise, the Red Sox trying to keep their wild card spot, of course. But Eric Miller, who the Red Sox traded Marcelo Meyer to get, he pitched in the game last night against his former team. Seemed to be kind of excited. Devers hit a home run in the game yesterday. It was his first return, I believe, to Fenway since the Red Sox traded him. The Red Sox played against him last year, but it was in San Francisco, I'm pretty sure, after the trade. So there are those storylines going on that everybody likes to talk about. But as far as handicapping this game, I don't think it really matters much. But yeah, San Francisco used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Both teams did, but the Red Sox are the number 1 ranked bullpen here, and they remain that way, even though I'm a little bit worried about them right now because of the injuries they have going on here. San Francisco's ranked 24th. They haven't been a great bullpen this year. Offensively, the Red Sox are all the way up to 8th. I mean, this offense has had a huge turnaround here, even though they aren't really that stacked of a lineup, but they're the better offense here. The Giants are 21st, and I've been saying I don't think the Giants are really that good of an offense. The pitching in this game, though, oh, man, is it ugly. Blade Tidwell was pitching for the Giants. He's kind of a converted reliever here. He was on the Mets last year, which I kind of remember that, and was not great. This year he's been mediocre, but he's made a lot of bullpen appearances, 4.33 ERA, 1.22 whip. He's not so good on the road, 5.4 road area with a really bad 310 opponent batting average on the road. So he's not pitching well on the road. It seems like they've kind of turned him into a starter here over the last 3 outings. And he was pretty good in 2 of them. And then last time he got blown up at home by Colorado and had a ton of walks. So I'm not sure how good he really is. His hit rate is okay on the season. His walk rate is okay, I would say, and his strikeout rate is a little bit low, so it's not very impressive. Strikeout walk ratio, not impressive. Strikeout per 9, not impressive. The Red Sox have actually seen him a little bit. They have 3 hitters who face him for 6 at-bats. Wilson Contreras is 3 for 3 with a home run off him, although he's the only Red Sox hitter that has any hits off him, but that's a 500 average and 1,500 OPS across the 3 hitters that have faced him. Contreras, Rutschman, and Siegler. 0-0 strikeout walk ratio there, but I don't really expect Tidwell to do that well here, and I don't expect Sandoval to do very well either for the Red Sox. Anybody named P. Sandoval, Red Sox should never deal with them, man. They should never pick them up. If you remember, whatever his name was, Kung Fu Panda or whatever. I think I said Trash Panda. Kung Fu Panda. He was trash. Pablo Sandoval. The obese third baseman that hilariously was on the Giants for much of his career, and then the Red Sox had him, and he sucked. Well, you know who else sucks? Patrick Sandoval. I've been saying this guy sucks, even though the Red Sox won his first 5 starts or whatever, and he wasn't allowing that many runs. Yeah, look at his whip, 1.85. That is horrific. Like, the Red Sox literally could have anybody else in the rotation taking this guy's place, and it would be an improvement. I mean, I have no idea why the Red Sox have this guy. He blows. He's by far their worst starting pitcher. It's not even close. And as one of you guys pointed out in the chat, the Red Sox should just take him out of just get rid of him and replace this spot with an opener and then Brian Bayo pitching behind the opener. That's what they should do. 4.76 ERA for Sandoval, but he's worse than that, so that's not good. He's been better at home. 3.68 ERA at home looks good, but 333 opponent batting average, yeah, that's not. He got blown up last time against Pittsburgh, although he'd allowed more than 2 earned runs only one other time on the season, but it's a mirage, man. He's allowing way too many hits. His walk rate's not good either. His strikeout rate is actually pretty good, but that's the only good number that he has here. It looks like his bad pitching is catching up with him. Bad start against Pittsburgh last time out. His strikeout walk ratio is not great. His strikeout per 9 is actually pretty good, but the rest of these numbers are just terrible. So, yeah, I hate it. And San Francisco's been able to hit him a little bit, although they only have 4 hitters who have faced him, 15 at bats, 267 average, 779 OPS, 5-1 strikeout walk ratio. I would play this game over the total, as you could guess. That would be my lean here. I kind of want to do it, to be honest. The total's around 8 or 8.5, so it's a reasonable total, kind of in no man's land here, although I know we have bad hitting here in this game, but, well, at least especially on the San Francisco side, and the Red Sox don't really do as well at home. Man, 88% of tickets, 89% of the cash on the over. It looks like a very public over. It's tempting, man. I mean, I guess I'll leave it alone, but I think the over is the right way to play this game. Red Sox are also minus 200 here. Like, should Patrick Sandoval ever be a minus 200 favorite? I mean, come on, man. And every time the Red Sox win at home, they lose, basically, because the Red Sox have not been above 500 at home, I think, the entire season, other than maybe really early in the season. And it's like every time the Red Sox get back to 500 at home, they lose again. So the Red Sox are, believe it or not, still below 500. Or no, they're exactly at 500, I think, again, at home. But Patrick Sandoval should never be a favorite like this. 93% of tickets, 94% of the cash on the Red Sox. So they look like a public side. There's no way you can lay a money line like this with the Red Sox. I mean, I don't know if I would want to take San Francisco. I mean, you could make the argument for it, I guess, in the first 5 because Sandoval is really bad. So maybe the argument is there, maybe, for taking San Francisco in the first 5. But to me, I think it's got to be an over. Let me take a look at what Action Network is looking like on this real quick. Yeah, I mean, their indicators look like they're mostly, their market indicators are kind of showing under as far as their bigger indicators, so I don't know, man. Obviously, I would not play the under in that one. Detroit and Kansas City. Kansas City won again yesterday, man. Shout out to Zach, I guess. Kansas City beat a team that's not that bad this time, and they have won 6 games in a row. I was surprised by that. I thought stepping up in class against a Detroit team, it's really kind of in desperation mode now, still trying to make the playoffs. And I thought Detroit was on a nice little roll and might be able to win this division, and their run differential is pretty good, but it's not happening, man. Detroit's not playing well right now. Kansas City is hot, 6 games in a row, but still, I don't know if Kansas City is going to be able to continue beating a team that's definitely better than them, like the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers only used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. They're definitely the better bullpen. Kansas City used 4. Detroit is 15th in bullpen. Kansas City's dead last, 30th, although I think they're better than the A's, but not better than anybody else. Detroit's the better offense, too. They're 12th. Kansas City, 20th. Detroit does not have the starting pitching edge in this game, though. They're going with a bullpen game because Drew Anderson is listed as a start, although he's actually gone a starter's workload recently, so I guess we can handicap him. Oh, and by the way, I will say that if you're going to play the Red Sox Giants game, I would probably play Action on the San Francisco side. Play Sandoval must start on the Red Sox side, but because if anybody else pitches for the Red Sox, you probably don't want to necessarily play the over. But as far as San Francisco, it might be like a bullpen-ish game, so I think maybe you could just not pick a starter for them. So just some thoughts there. But yes, for Detroit, I was thinking kind of the same thing. Like they might put an opener in front of Anderson or something. Multiple Andersons pitching today. But for Detroit, yeah, with Drew Anderson, they might put like an opener in front of him potentially. So if you're going to play this game, I would probably pick Wacom a start for Kansas City, but don't pick a starter for Detroit because it's going to be some sort of bullpen game. But Anderson, again, he's gone at least 4 innings in his last 2 outings, so they're kind of letting him go basically a starter's workload. And he wasn't really that bad in his last couple outings. His numbers are very mediocre, though, mostly pitching out of the bullpen. 4.01 ERA, 1.3 whip. He's got a good strikeout rate, although it might go down a little bit if he's pitching more innings. His hit rate's not bad either. Really, his numbers aren't that bad across the board. The walk number, I guess, is the worst number. It's a little bit high. Strikeout walk ratio is actually not too bad. It's mediocre. And strikeout per 9, like I said, is actually pretty good. So Anderson, I mean, he's not like a complete fade necessarily. Royals have hit him well, though. 11 at bats, 455 average, 1,000 OPS, 3.0 strikeout walk ratio. So Anderson does not have good numbers against Kansas City. Michael Wacha is definitely the more established of the two pitchers here, pitching for Kansas City. He's had another pretty good season, 3.58 ERA, 1.15 whip. He's good at home, 3.21 home ERA, so he pitches better at home. He's in decent form still. So, yeah, I think Wacha could continue to pitch well here. Just looking at the numbers in general, he's got a low hit rate. His walk rate is okay. His strikeout rate isn't really high, though. He's not a strikeout pitcher, but he doesn't really put a lot of guys on base. His strikeout on walk ratio is okay. Strikeout per 9 is a bit low, but like I said, he's not really a strikeout guy. And he's still able to work his pitches in the right way to pitch efficient or pitch effectively. He pitches efficiently too a lot of the time, but effectively. And he's been more or less decent against Detroit in 152 at bats, 250 average, 723 OPS, 30-16 strikeout walk ratio. So I think Wacha does have the upper hand in the starting pitching. I would probably be leaning Kansas City first 5 here. I mean, Detroit should have more motivation at this point. Like, they're a desperate team, and the money is coming in on them, and you're getting them almost at an underdog price here. 57% of tickets on Kansas City. Like, really? Have we gotten to the point where the public is actually backing the Royals over the Tigers? I don't know, man. 69% of the cash on the Tigers, but in this pitching matchup, I still think Kansas City first 5, although if you do that, I think you probably have to lay a bit more of a price than you would in the full game. I mean, because Kansas City, everybody knows how bad their bullpen is. But, yeah, I think Kansas City first 5 makes some sense in the game, but the money doesn't like it at all. Money's definitely indicating on the over in this game as well at 8.5. I mean, I can kind of see the argument for that. Like, Wacha has okay numbers against Detroit. Detroit's pitching is a bullpen game, which might not be good. Anderson has bad matchup numbers. Kansas City's bullpen is really bad, so there are probably more indicators for an over than an under, but I don't like the game very much. Cubs in Seattle, I don't even want to talk about this game because of what happened yesterday. This game is also on Fox, so 3 games on Fox. This is, I mean, they're all games that might get some attention. So probably the Dodgers and Pirates is still the one that's going to get the most eyes, but Red Sox Giants probably the least. But Chicago Seattle might get some eyes on it. Seattle with that win yesterday after falling behind early in the game, not happy about it. Cubs teased me and made it look like they were going to come back and win. Cubs used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. The game did go extra innings. I think 4 games did yesterday. Seattle also used 4 guys out of the bullpen. And the other extra inning game I haven't talked about yet. So you might want to avoid the bullpens here because they're a little bit extra worked after yesterday. Cubs bullpen isn't too bad, though. They're, let me see, where are they? They're 13th. Seattle has been worse than expected this year. They're 20th right now out of the bullpen, but I still think you might have 2 capable bullpens here, but they're a little bit overworked here. Cubs are 3rd offensively. They're way better offensively. The Mariners are tied in last place with Cleveland and the Angels. That's not good. 28th. So the Cubs have the offensive edge. Starting pitching matchup, this looks like it would be a play for me on Seattle. Maybe I should consider it, to be honest. I'm thinking about it. David Peterson, I love this guy. Pitching for the Cubs here, 5.29 ERA, 1.53 whip. Not good numbers here. However, he is actually better on the road, 4.39 road ERA, and he might pitch well in a pitcher-friendly park here as well on the road. He's been winning for the most part with the Cubs. I think he has 7 of his 9 starts have been wins for the Cubs so far, or 7 of his 9 appearances. The last time out, he only went 1 1/3 innings. Not exactly sure what that was about. I still don't think he's a very good pitcher, though, man. Puts too many guys on base, although he's been good with the Cubs. Like 3 or fewer earned runs allowed in all of his outings with the Cubs. But his hit rate is still high on the season. His walk rate is still kind of ugly. His strikeout rate's not very good. He gets a lot of ground balls, which kind of masks how bad he really is. His strikeout walk ratio is not very good. His strikeout per 9 is not very good either. Yes, I mean, I don't love Peterson, man. His numbers against Seattle are actually not good. In 35 at bats, 286 average, 799 OPS. Not great matchup numbers here, although he is better on the road and he has been better with the Cubs, pitching for a contending team where he was on the Mets before, and maybe that just didn't motivate him enough. Cade Anderson is all the hype here, though. He's making his major league debut for the Mariners, and ESPN, he has such a name behind him. ESPN already has his picture up here. Anderson, he's one of the top pitching prospects in baseball. He's a lefty. He throws he has a wide arsenal of pitches. Like, he doesn't throw that hard. He throws mid to upper 90s basically, but he has fastball, curveball, slider, changeup. I think that, like, typical pitch mix, but I think some of his moving pitches and off-speed pitches I think are very good. And he's been completely dominating in Double A because I guess Seattle doesn't have their pitchers pitch in Triple A, I guess, because it's a high elevation environment. But I was thinking they should, like, have their pitcher work him in the high elevation environment, right? Because then when he comes down to Seattle, it'll be like a nice relief, right? Because he'll go from a real hitter-friendly environment to a real pitcher-friendly environment, so I don't know, but that's not what they did. They kept him in Double A, and he was completely dominating in Double A, but will that translate to the majors? It might. I mean, he's never been seen before by the Cubs. I think he might pitch well. I think the hype might be real because he's been so dominant. I wasn't sure that Seattle should call him up, even though I know they're in desperation mode, but like, the one thing that Seattle has that doesn't really need fixing is the starting pitching. It's everything else that's been the problem, especially the offense. So I don't know. But in this game, the money is coming in towards Seattle. 54% of tickets on the Cubs, 59% of the cash on Seattle. Money also playing the over 8 here. I'm not so sure about the over here, but I would lean Seattle in this one. I'm considering it, man. I am. It's been sort of on my radar. Let me see here. Mariners. I don't know. According to Action Network, it looks like a lot of the money is coming in towards the Cubs, though. I don't know. I'm tempted. I guess I'll stay away. I don't want Peterson to come in and catch me again, but I like Seattle in this one. Maybe first 5 only because I don't think they really have the bullpen edge. So I think Seattle first 5 is probably how I would play. You'll probably have to pay a little bit of a price for it. And the other thing is I don't really love playing on these really hyped pitchers like Anderson because maybe the hype is just going to overvalue them a little bit. But minus 114 full game for Seattle, you'll probably get a reasonable price in the first 5. So minus 130 maybe or something like that. Maybe better than that, actually. So I don't know. Next game up is one of my plays, but it's gonna depend on the number that you can find. Which is Pittsburgh and Dodgers first 5 under the total, but the best that I could find out there was a 3.5. DK does not allow for their totals, their first 5 totals, they don't have even numbers on them. They always put the half run there, and I was looking for a 4. So that's what I'm looking for. I'll put it in the description if I find a number that I like that, but I like the first 5 under in this Pirates-Dodgers game here, and I think it's one of these games where everybody considers these teams to be really good offenses, which they are, but the pitching, I think, can overcome the offenses here, and I don't like the bullpen, so I want to keep them out. They also had an extra inning game, remember, yesterday, so you have bullpens that aren't really that great to begin with, and they had to pitch extra yesterday, so I can't factor the bullpens into this. Pittsburgh used 5 relief pitchers yesterday. The Dodgers, 6, I think is what that was. The Dodgers used 4. Bullpen-wise, the Dodgers are 11th. I mean, they're just okay. Pittsburgh, 23rd. I mean, I think I would be more likely to go full game. I might actually extend this to full game if we weren't coming off an extra inning game. I might be doing that because you will get the hook. Like, you will get a 7.5 on the full game, most likely. But I just don't think I could do it with the shape that the bullpens are in. We do have 2 good offenses. Dodgers number 1, Pittsburgh number 4. But I think the starting pitching can hold the offenses down a little bit. Jared Jones is pitching for Pittsburgh. I think he's still kind of going under the radar, man. I mean, he looked good 2 years ago, and he looks pretty good recently as well. 4.78 ERA doesn't really tell the story. 1.2 whip is not great, but it does tell you his ERA should be better than it is. And he's also been somewhat better on the road in some ways, 3.96 road ERA. Those opponent batting average is a lot higher on the road, so not everything is better on the road. But maybe he's coming back into form here because he pitched well against the Red Sox last time out. He wasn't good in the prior 2 starts, though, but he was pitching pretty well because he had a really good month of July. So, I don't know. I think he had a little bit of a blip against a good Milwaukee team, although I know he's pitching against the Dodgers here. And then I don't know what happened to him against the Mets. He had a really bad start against the Mets, but I think he seems to be coming back into form here. His overall numbers don't look too bad. Low hit rate, okay walk rate, high strikeout rate. So mostly that's pretty good. The strikeout walk ratio is pretty good because the strikeout per 9 is high. So he's able to strike guys out, which is good. And the Dodgers have 28 at-bats against him, and they have not done well. 214 average, 563 OPS, 9-1 strikeout walk ratio. So Jones has actually done well against the Dodgers. He did pitch against them once this year. He did fine in that start, although it was a shortened start from him because it was only his second start of the season. So I wouldn't take too much away from that one. And, of course, Skubal is on the other side. Tarek Skubal, 2.85 ERA, 0.96 whip. He's a little bit worse at home, 3.49 home ERA, though a lot of that was with, of course, Detroit. He's been good with the Dodgers so far. He's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in all 3 starts with the Dodgers so far. He's faced some good lineups in here, Cubs, Milwaukee. So he can definitely go out there and pitch against good offenses. We know he's one of the better pitchers in baseball. Low hit rate, low walk rate, high strikeout rate. All those numbers are good. High strikeout walk ratio, really high actually. High strikeout per 9. Yeah, all that is good. And against Pittsburgh, they don't have much experience against them. They have 5 hitters who have faced them, 24 at-bats. They only have 1 extra base hit, which is a double from Nick Gonzalez, 167 average, 439 OPS, 9-2 strikeout walk ratio. So I like this to go under, man, in the first 5. I can't deal with the bullpens here, but I want to find a 4 out there, man. That's what I'm going to be looking for. I'll update the show description if and when I can get that. Hopefully I can get that. I think I would still just do the 3.5 though, although it worries me. I kind of hate the number 3.5, but to me, this feels like a play to me. This is the first one I identified as being a potential play. 7.5 is the total in the full game if you want to risk it and go full game. I mean, the one thing about that might help you a little bit is Skubal might go deeper into the game. Jones may not, but he still might as well. Who knows? 79% of tickets, 92% of the cash on the over, though. So the money kind of indicating towards the over, but I like the starting pitching to do well here. 87% of tickets and cash on the Dodgers at minus 250. I think the Dodgers are way too heavily priced here. I think you could make an argument for taking Pittsburgh, like in the first 5 or something, and make an argument that Jones might be able to duel Skubal enough that he can kind of hang around, and you can take like the run line there, and maybe Pittsburgh can kind of hold the game in check through the first 5, and that would be correlated to the under, as I always say. If you think it's going to be a lower scoring game, it's more likely the underdog can hang around because each run is worth a little bit more. All right. Next game is Cleveland and Colorado. Cleveland won easily yesterday, 9-1. Bad times for Colorado. They're not playing well. They've lost 4 games in a row now. Cleveland is a desperate team, I would say, at this point, because they've fallen back or they're still trying to make the playoffs. Cleveland used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. Colorado used 2, but Cleveland is the better bullpen, even though they're a little bit overworked here. Cleveland is 17th in bullpen. Colorado's not good. They're 27th. Colorado is the better offense. They're 5th, although they got held down yesterday by, I think, Joey Cantillo had a good start yesterday for Cleveland. Cleveland is tied in last with the Angels and the Mariners for offense. Really ugly. Tanner Bybee is getting the start for Cleveland here. Decent season for him, 4.01 ERA, 1.15 whip is pretty good. He's been similar home and away, slightly worse on the road, but not by much. He's in decent form right now. Gave up some runs against Detroit a couple starts ago, but still not pitching too poorly in his recent starts here. He's got a low hit rate on the season. His walk rate's not too bad. He allows too many home runs, though, and that's kind of a problem if you're pitching in Coors Field. You don't want to be a home run-heavy pitcher, and he kind of is. He's a very fly ball-heavy pitcher, so that's not great for pitching in Coors Field. And his strikeout rate is also kind of low, so it might not be good that he's going to be pitching to contact here, and some of those fly balls might result in home runs in a stadium like this. So you do have to worry about that a little bit. He has a mediocre strikeout walk ratio, I would say. Strikeout per 9 is actually at its lowest that it's been throughout his career, so he's usually a better strikeout pitcher than this, so his stuff doesn't seem to totally be there, although he's had a decent season overall, though. Colorado only has 5 hitters to face him, but they've done a lot of damage in 28 at-bats, 321 average, 974 OPS, 9-1 strikeout walk ratio. Good ratio, but the rest of these numbers favor Colorado's offense against Bybee, so it doesn't look very good for Bybee. Gabriel Hughes, especially, again, because Bybee being a fly ball pitcher, home run heavy, doesn't look good for Coors Field. Hughes pitching for Colorado, he's a young guy. He looked good early in the season, but he's definitely taken a step back. 6.69 ERA, really not good. 1.38 whip is not great. He's better at home somehow. I can't make sense of that. 3.86 home ERA. He pitches better in Coors Field. Makes no sense. He got lit up in San Francisco last time out, but he's somehow better in Coors Field. I don't know. He got lit up in his last 2 road starts. His last 3 starts have all been bad, so he's really kind of fallen apart after he looked decent early in the season. His hit rate is too high. His walk rate is okay. His strikeout rate is okay. Strikeout walk ratio is just okay, I would say. Strikeout per 9, again, just okay. And, of course, Cleveland hasn't faced him, and this might be an easier matchup for him because Cleveland does not have a good offense, and he's unfamiliar to Cleveland. Can we really trust him, though? Even though he is better at home, he's going up against a very weak offense here. I don't know. I mean, my instinct on this game was that over would be my lean in this game, although I really don't want to do it at like 11. But I think you might be able to get the key number of 11 and not have to go up to the 11.5 on this and off of that key number. Yeah, it looks like you'll be able to get 11 on this. Actually, you might be able to get 10.5 on this, possibly. Over 10.5, of course, you're getting below that key number of 11. 64% of tickets on the under in that game and 91% of the cash on the over. I would lean over in that game, like I said. I mean, Bybee looks like he's got a bad matchup here, bad environment for him possibly. Hughes, I'm not so sure, although it would basically just be banking on Colorado's pitching not being particularly good throughout the game. And Cleveland at least did break out the bats yesterday for 9 runs, so they're at least capable of scoring against a pitching staff like Colorado. I would also lean Colorado in this game slightly, believe it or not, in the first 5 only because the bullpen is way too bad to back them. But 95% of tickets, 87% of the cash on Cleveland in the minus 140 range. I think Hughes being unfamiliar and being better at home, he might be able to outpitch Bybee here in the first 5. So maybe Colorado money line in the first 5, as insane as that sounds. It might be a spot where maybe it actually hits, but with Bybee's really bad matchup numbers there, I don't want to do it though. Cincinnati and Arizona is the last game here. Arizona won the game 9-0 yesterday. I know there were a lot of professionals that liked Arizona in the game yesterday. I didn't love it because they were returning home from a road trip, but they got the easy win yesterday. Erod continued to pitch well, man, yesterday. Cincinnati could be in bounce-back mode possibly after getting shut out like that, but Arizona, you know they have the motivation because they're trying to make the playoffs, and Arizona definitely has a better starting pitcher on the mound in this game. Arizona used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. They also have the better bullpen over the Reds, who also used 3 yesterday. Arizona's ranked 7th in bullpen, although, again, I don't think they're that good. But the Reds are worse. The Reds are 25th, so Arizona has the edge there. Arizona has the offensive edge as well. They're up to 15th, so Arizona's been hitting well basically since the All-Star break. They've come alive offensively. The Reds have not really. 25th, tied with the Mets, And Rhett Lauder is pitching for the Reds. That can't be good. 5.17 ERA, 1.49 whip. He's been really bad on the road. 7.23 road ERA. He is pitching a little bit better recently. 2 home starts in his last 3, though. I wouldn't trust him on the road or just really in general. His hit rate is okay. His walk rate's too high. His strikeout rate's low. Not a lot to like there. Bad strikeout walk ratio. Strikeout per 9, not really impressive. And against Arizona, numbers are kind of all over the place. 18 at bats. They only have 6 hitters who have faced him. 222 average, but 778 OPS. So they do have a little bit of power hitting going on against him. 5 strikeouts, 3 walks. But I think Arizona has the way better pitcher, although if you want Arizona, you have to pay a price for it. With Michael Soroka, he's back, and he's got a 2.93 ERA, 1.11 whip, really good at home, 1.88 home ERA, so the home road splits are heavily in favor of him here. He pitched well against his former team last time out against Atlanta. He's made 2 starts since he missed almost 2 months with injury, and he's been reasonably good in those 2 starts. They're not overworking him yet. They're still letting him ramp up a little bit, but he's pitched all right, even though he's a little bit walk heavy in the Colorado start. He's got a low hit rate. His walk rate's pretty low in the season. His strikeout rate is reasonably high, so none of those numbers are bad. Strikeout walk ratio is pretty good because he doesn't really walk guys. Strikeout per 9, pretty good as well. And Soroka against Cincinnati has been pretty good in 45 at-bats, 156 average, 602 OPS, 12-4 strikeout walk ratio. I would only be able to back Arizona in this one, man. But I think the money's probably not agreeing with me because the price is very high on them. And everybody kind of knows, like, you probably have to pay everybody knows Arizona's trying to make the playoffs here, so you probably have to pay extra for that reason. 85% of tickets, 90% of the cash in Arizona. They're at about minus 180 here, minus 170s in some cases here. It is a hefty price. Money coming in on the over 8 as well. Do what you want with that. You could take Arizona maybe over their team total or something like that, but I don't think I'd want to take Soroka out of the equation because he is good. So, and if you take Arizona team total over, you'll probably need him to get to 6 maybe in this game, maybe 5, I don't know, which is obviously possible. But I think I might just make a -1 run line with Arizona, man. I mean, they're a bit too public for my taste and maybe not much value there, but I think that's what I would do is make it into a -1 run line. And then we have Minnesota and San Diego. I looked at this and I immediately thought San Diego has the better starting pitcher on the mound here. San Diego won yesterday 6-2. Shout out to Clint, who was here right now, actually. And we watched the San Diego game last night. That's his team. They got the win yesterday. They used 2 relief pitchers. They did use their closer, Miller, yesterday, even though it was a 4-run win. Minnesota also used 2 relief pitchers. San Diego has the better bullpen. They're ranked 8th, although I think they're like a top 5 or top 6 bullpen. Minnesota is 28th overall, not good. San Diego's come alive offensively since the All-Star break. They're up to 23rd. Minnesota has been the better offense over the course of the season. They're 13th, but you might have 2 capable offenses here, which is why part of the reason why I kind of thought the over made some sense in yesterday's game. But Randy Vasquez pitched way better than I thought he would. Dean Creamer is getting the start in this one for Minnesota. He's better than his ERA looks, at least this year, 5.4 ERA. He came over from Baltimore, but he's got a 1.18 whip, which does indicate that his ERA should be lower than it is. He's been really bad on the road, though, 7.2 road ERA, so that's not good for him. He's made 3 starts with Minnesota, and he's been pretty good with Minnesota. He hasn't allowed many runs yet. He had his worst start, though, last time out at home against Philly after he was quite good in the other 2 starts, one against his former team, Baltimore. He's got his hit rate is okay. His walk rate's kind of low. Strikeout rate is okay. So his numbers don't really look that bad here. And hold on, let me see. Was that Kansas City game with Minnesota as well? It was. I just wanted to make sure. But yeah, overall, his numbers indicate that he's not as bad as his ERA makes him look. His career numbers kind of indicate that too, that he's been kind of a mediocre pitcher. His strikeout walk ratio is actually, it's like mediocre this year. It's not bad. Strikeout per 9 is a little bit low. Or no, wait, no, it's not. It's a little bit lower with Minnesota, but over the course of the season, including with Baltimore, it's been all right. Against San Diego, he's been okay in 59 at-bats, 271 average, 655 OPS, 10-6 strikeout walk ratio. Not a good ratio, but the OPS is at least not too bad. Casey Mize, another guy that got traded. He's pitching for San Diego, so we have 2 guys that got traded at the trade deadline going up against each other here. And they used to, Creamer now moved to the division where Mize used to be. So, yeah, kind of funny. Mize, 3.18 ERA, 1.07 whip. He's had a good season, man. He's been a good home pitcher, 2.44 home ERA, which seems like it probably translates to San Diego. They have a really pitcher-friendly park. He's made 1 home start with them so far. and it was good, and it was against a good offense in Milwaukee. He followed that up with another good start against Cleveland. Cleveland, obviously not a good offense, and I think I gave it an under in the Milwaukee game, and we hit that. I think maybe I gave it an under in the other one, too, against Cleveland. I don't remember. The first game that he pitched, though, he got absolutely destroyed in his first game with San Diego against Arizona. But I think maybe it was just a weird outlier. Like, he's settled down since then, so I'm not too worried about him. He's got a low hit rate, low walk rate. Strikeout rate is okay, but the walk rate's low enough that the strikeout walk ratio looks all right. Looks good, actually. Strikeout per 9, pretty good. Not too bad. His numbers against Minnesota are, I would say, mediocre. In 89 at-bats, 247 average. They're definitely familiar with him because he's been in their division. 767 OPS, 14-6 strikeout walk ratio. What do we do with this game, man? I'm kind of thinking maybe under. The money seems to be indicating on the over at over 8. 83% of tickets, 93% of the cash on the over. I would lean slightly towards the under here, though. Well, first 5, I guess, because Minnesota's bullpen is so bad. Maybe a first 5 under and back to starting pitching here. I don't know. San Diego has 83% of tickets, 94% of the cash on them. They're dropped a little bit down into the minus 150s range here. I don't really disagree with San Diego. I trust Mize more than I trust Creamer, plus San Diego with the better bullpen. So you could make like a -1 run line out of this. Both teams are motivated, though. Both teams are trying to make the playoffs here. So something to keep in mind in that one. So the motivation should be there for both teams. All right. That's baseball, man. Now we have WNBA here. Indiana at New York is the first game on Amazon Prime, the Prime doubleheader. New York is returning home from a road trip. So, I don't really love teams returning home from road trips. So it was only a 2-game road trip, but still, they've been away for a week. So I don't love that. You got to get back to home life. It could be a bit of a distraction. However, they just lost to Chicago, which is pretty ugly. And I don't see them overlooking Indiana. I mean, Indiana beat them the last 2 times they played them. And it was kind of embarrassing for New York. However, that might mean Indiana just has the matchup edge against them. I think Indiana and New York both kind of play fast, and Indiana's just better at it. Although Indiana's not really that good defensively, but Indiana's definitely had the upper hand against New York this year. But again, maybe Indiana will overlook them a little bit for that reason in this one. Maybe New York will have some adjustments to make here. I don't quite want to back them in the return home spot, but I think if I was going to do anything in this game, I'd probably be leaning to New York here to actually make the adjustments and finally get one back against Indiana. Indiana just lost a 5-game win streak, so I talk about that. When you lose a win streak, a lot of times it'll hang you over into the next game, and they lost in Dallas in that last game, which was a somewhat tough game, although I believe, I don't know, Dallas has been kind of resting some of their players, or Beckers might have been injured or something. I'm not sure. She might have played in that game, though. I'd have to look, but I think when you lose a win streak like this, a lot of times it will hang you over. I'm not going to say Indiana's definitely going to overlook New York, but I think it's more likely that they overlook New York than that New York overlooks them. The money seems to be backing Indiana, though. New York is favored around -2.5. 82% of tickets, 87% of the cash coming in on Indiana, though. But Indiana's going to be a public side, and everybody's going to kind of want them, I think, because they're the hype team. They have a slightly better record here as well. So it looks a little bit easy, I think, to take Indiana, the team that already easily beat New York the last 2 times they played them and has the better record. It looks too easy to take them as the underdog, in my opinion. So I would lean to New York minus the points. Charles, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. All right. Connecticut and LA is the other game on Amazon Prime. This is an ugly game. LA's been really bad recently. They traded Plum away, and they pretty much just packed it in for the season. It looks like they've been really, really bad. They've lost 6 games in a row. They just got embarrassed by Atlanta, got blown out. However, maybe they'll show up for a game after that. After you get embarrassed that badly, Connecticut beat them the game before that, and now they're playing Connecticut here. So it is a little bit of a quick revenge spot, if you want to call it that. So maybe LA will take the game a little bit more seriously and make some adjustments. They do play Atlanta next in revenge, but after an embarrassing loss like that to Atlanta and losing to Connecticut the game before that, staying at home here. It's also the second game back home, by the way, which is a positive spot typically, because I talk about this. LA had returned home from a road trip, and I talk about that. When a team does that, it's negative generally, and it's a distraction generally, and they got caught, had a horrible game. So a lot of times the team will bounce back in that second game back home after that. Connecticut is coming off a blowout loss to Vegas, so they're adjusted to the Pacific time zone at least because they just lost in Vegas, so they're already out in the Pacific time zone. They got blown out too, so I don't necessarily, I'm not going to say they're going to overlook this game, but they did just beat LA the game before that. So if I was going to play this game, I would play LA. I'm not going to do it. I haven't had a WNBA play for a while. I don't love what we're seeing here, but -4 is the number here. 88% of tickets, 94% of the cash on LA. Public is probably going to side with LA too because Connecticut's just been one of the worst teams in the entire league. But LA, I think the spot sets up a little bit better for them, so I would lay it with LA. Yes, ugly play and ugly players. Atlanta at Phoenix is the last game here. Phoenix, I think they're not as bad as their record looks, and you're getting them as a pretty big underdog price here. So it's possible that, I looked at this and I was like, oh, maybe they're going to be worth a look here. They did just lose at home to Portland, kind of a bad loss there to Portland at home. Staying at home here for this game. They have multiple days off here to try to get over that bad loss to Portland, so they're rested. They haven't played since Sunday, so nice rest here for Phoenix. I believe they had some big game. I think it might have been the LA game where they had this big Diana Taurasi celebration because she was one of the best players in league history, and Phoenix had her, and I think they inducted her into their Ring of Honor or whatever the hell. I guess they don't retire numbers. They're like the Dallas Cowboys. They don't retire numbers. If you didn't know, the Dallas Cowboys, they don't retire numbers. They put names in a Ring of Honor instead, I believe is what it's called. But anyway, so maybe Phoenix was kind of in a letdown after that, if that was that game. I don't know. But it looks like it sets up as a focus spot for Phoenix here, though. Atlanta just destroyed LA in their last game. They look way too good right now. And they beat Vegas in the game before that. They beat Indiana, or they lost to Indiana in overtime the game before that. So Atlanta's coming off of 3 games in a row where they looked probably too good. Now, it's not a sandwich spot, unfortunately. They only have LA coming up next after this, but they did just beat Phoenix not that long ago as well. So they might not take Phoenix very seriously at all. And they don't have a rest edge here either. They were just in LA 2 days ago, and they have to play again here. In fact, they've played 2 games since Phoenix has last played, so Phoenix has a big rest edge. Am I talking myself into it? I don't know, man. Atlanta is more of a defensive team. It's not really a high total here, 176.5. The lowest total is that horrible Connecticut-LA game. I mean, even though LA doesn't play good defense, I mean, those teams are just bad all over the place. Indiana, New York is definitely a high total. I mean, rightfully so. Those teams like to score. This game, though, I'm thinking about the underdog here. It's not that high of a total. Is today the day? Do we finally jump back in and play and make a WNBA play here? All right. Let's do it. 2 plays that I'm giving out on the fly here today on the show. Let's do it. Let's take the Phoenix Mercury here plus the points. I would sprinkle on the money line as well. It looks like 5.5 is the number that you get on this. I'm going to add it here. And definitely I would say put 10% of it on the money line because they have a decent chance to win this game if they're going to cover. So let me add this to I'm adding it to the banners here. Whoops. There it is. Phoenix plus 5.5. Let's do it. Yeah. All right. Whoops. Yeah. I had that stupid StreamYard put a timer on that. Yeah. The coven. I don't know. Coven might not be the right word for it. I don't know. What's a better word for it? I don't know. I'd have to. What's a term for like a bunch of ugly bitches? I don't know. Atlanta, yeah, Angel Reese. Well, if you saw what happened the other day, that overtime loss that they had to Indiana was because Angel Reese missed a layup that I think would have won them the game, and it was off of her own miss, I'm pretty sure as well. It's so fucking stupid. All right. And then we have a ton of NFL preseason here, which I'm going to try to just cover really quickly. I don't give out preseason plays, but I was correct about the over yesterday in the Green Bay Denver game, and I was correct about leaning towards Green Bay in that one too, but I said over in that one. That one went way over the total. Anyway, we're in week 2 of preseason here, so a lot of times you start seeing like starters get into the game a little bit. I don't know in which cases it's going to be the case, although sometimes you can kind of tell based on what the line is. Washington at Detroit here. I think every game here is at the home team stadium. Detroit in their first preseason game lost to the Bengals, which is kind of an ugly game, but Joe Burrow, I think, played for about a series in that one. Detroit did not really play any of their starters there, so Cincinnati, I think, was a pretty big favorite in that one. And Cincinnati had Joe Flacco also, I think, in that game, so they had a lot of quarterback experience there. Washington got an easy win over the Dolphins in their first preseason game. Dolphins, I don't know, man. They might be a little bit of a mess this year. This will be an interesting one. I mean, these two teams seem like they kind of probably don't like each other because Washington had that big playoff win against Detroit 2 years ago. Detroit, I think, got revenge on them in a regular season game last year. I honestly have no idea who's going to be coming into this game, though, and that's what you have to figure out is the quarterback personnel and the motivation is what matters the most. Lions, you're probably going to see a decent amount of Dobbs and Altmaier here. Altmaier, they probably want to work out and like see what he's got because he's their young guy that they drafted. Dobbs has been in the league forever, but he is experienced. But when Dobbs is out there, it might be more of a vanilla offense potentially. I don't know if we're going to see Goff at all here. I'm guessing we're not going to see Jaden Daniels because he's hurt all the time. Also, because they want to keep him healthy, man. And also, Daniels, I don't know, man. Maybe they don't want to put him in the spotlight after the number 5 issue, suing everybody for the number 5 or going after LSU for that. Marcus Mariota is questionable, so you might see a lot of Sam Hartman and Ethan Kaliakmanis here, a couple of young guys I think that Washington has here. So, you know, I mean, Washington might, like, use these guys a bit more than you think. Like, they might, like, unleash the offense a little bit more than you think with those guys out there. I don't have much to say about, like, really any of these games, but in this game, it looks like the money is coming in on Washington. 64% of tickets on Detroit, 69% of the cash on Washington. Detroit's only a 1.5 point favorite, so it looks really easy to play Detroit here. Both teams had disappointing seasons last year, though, and I think Detroit is legitimately in line for a bounce-back season, which I talked about. That was one of my season win totals. I said take Detroit over their season win total. Washington, you know, I know they had a miserable season last year because Daniels was hurt, but even if they improve on that, I don't really think they're that good of a team. I don't know, man. And then this game is also, the money's indicating on the over in this game. We got a lot of low totals here, again, because it's preseason, but I think maybe some of the totals are too low. Like, we've been seeing higher scoring preseason games more often recently because, again, like, some of these teams like to work out these, like, offensive players that they think might have some talent and whatever. Dan Quinn, by the way, for Washington, he's known for not really giving a shit about preseason, though, so keep that in mind. I think maybe Detroit's Dan Campbell might give a shit more. Like, he seems like a guy that he never wants to lose. Like, he's the guy that will go out there and, like, in a game that doesn't matter at the end of the regular season, he'll still play all his starters. You know what I mean? So he's kind of a psychopath. So that would kind of keep me off of wanting to play Washington here. I mean, maybe the over. I mean, maybe you're seeing some I don't think either team is necessarily that good on defense, and maybe you'll see the offenses try to, like, kind of work out some of their guys there. Buffalo and Cleveland, I mean, nobody's going to want Cleveland here. Who's going to want to lay 3 points with Cleveland? Nobody. Buffalo, 86% of tickets, 95% of the cash on Buffalo, but you know that this means that you're probably not going to see starters from Buffalo. Josh Allen, I think, did play in their first preseason game, and they beat Carolina. But I think he only played for, like, a series. He might not play at all here. Buffalo, though, their quarterback rotation looks pretty bad to me. Like, if Josh Allen gets hurt, they're going to be in some trouble because they have Kyle Allen and Shane Buckley, or however you pronounce his name, Buckley, whatever. Those guys, they've been around for a while. Buckley does know their system. And Kyle Allen, I think, is pretty experienced as well. But yeah, if these guys are playing most of this game, I don't think that's a very good thing, man. It might mean Buffalo's going to go pretty vanilla here offensively, too, because there's not a whole lot they want to go out there and try to, like, showcase. Cleveland, on the other hand, they probably actually have, like, maybe a battle at the quarterback position, although I think they have announced that it will be Deshaun Watson, and it should be. I mean, if you saw that first preseason game, they had Deshaun Watson was clearly the best of the quarterbacks, even though they ran a really vanilla offense with him because he hasn't played in a while. Sanders and Gabriel both look terrible, and I don't know what they have in Taylor Green, who they drafted this year. Cleveland might be going they might be going with some kind of creative offenses here in this game, though. You know what I mean? Because they want to see what they have with these quarterbacks here and try to make a decision here. So, and Watson might get into the game still as well because he kind of needs more work probably too. So I think that's probably really the reason why. So yeah, I don't hate Cleveland in this game. I think I would probably lean that way. I mean, it looks way too easy to take Buffalo plus the points. I'd probably lay the 3 with Cleveland if I was really going to play that game. I don't want to, but that would be my lean in that one probably. I think the quarterback rotation sets up better for them to go with like a non-vanilla type of offense and actually try to do something on offense. Plus, Cleveland has a new coach, I believe, right? So actually, both teams have a new coach. What am I saying? Yeah, both teams have new coaches, I'm pretty sure. And the new coaches a lot of times will try harder in preseason. I mean, maybe that's kind of an indicator towards the over. The money was coming in a little bit on the over in that one, but whatever. And all these totals are pretty much in the mid-30s range. Like just the totals in all these games only vary by 2 points. Atlanta and Indianapolis. Atlanta looked so bad. Nobody's going to want Atlanta here after they looked horrific in the first game, but I think they might be worth a look in the game today because they looked so unbelievably ugly in that first game against the Broncos. But, you know, Sean Payton, he tries to win. He's got 8 wins in a row in the preseason or something, so he's trying to win. The Falcons are trying to figure out who their starter is because Tua looked terrible in that game. And Penix, based on that one game, like Penix should probably be their starter over Tua. But I think they have something to figure out here. So that means Atlanta's going to be running some offense here and trying to figure out who their quarterback's going to be. So I think Atlanta might be worth a look here. And teams that are that ugly in the first preseason, they do kind of tend to bounce back somewhat often in the next game. Penix is questionable, but I think he'll be out there. And then they do have Cooper Rush as well, and he's an experienced quarterback, at least. He might be in the mix there. Then they also have Jack Strand, who I don't know what they have in this guy. He's an interesting character. He's a guy that they got from Division II, and I'm going to be honest, man. I mean, there's a chance that Strand is the best quarterback on this roster. I mean, as insane as that sounds. So maybe he'll be out there as well, and they'll try to see what they have with him. The Colts, I thought the Colts would win against the Patriots in their first game, and that did not happen. Anthony Richardson made a really bad mistake with that fumble that he had there. I don't hate the Colts rotation here, though. With Richardson, I mean, he is a dual-threat quarterback, so he can definitely throw defenses off. Riley Leonard has looked okay when he's played. He played in some regular season games at the end of last year, and I thought he looked decent, other than he was making some kind of rookie mistakes, but he looks like he has the talent to actually do this, even though I wasn't really that high on him after seeing him play at Notre Dame. But, yeah, and then they have Easton Stick, who is an experienced backup quarterback, at least. They got some injuries going on here. I don't know, man. I don't know if Daniel Jones is going to get into this game. They probably need to get him involved here because he's coming off of a long injury layoff. So Jones is going to have to get into some of these games. I don't know if he did in the first game. Maybe he did. I should know as a Colts fan, but whatever. I would lean towards Atlanta in this game, though. I think they might pull out more of the stops here. The money is heavily indicating on Atlanta. 67% of tickets on Indy, 76% of the cash on Atlanta. I think out of the game so far, I probably like that one the best. You're getting them as a 3.5-point underdog. Nobody's going to want them. Like, they're like the laughing stock after week 1 of preseason. They're the team that everyone's making fun of the most. And, you know, that's where I like to look because I think it's always an overreaction. Baltimore and Minnesota. A lot of these games are on NFL Network, by the way, and ESPN Unlimited. Minnesota, they won their first preseason game against the Giants. Baltimore has a new coach, so Baltimore might be playing a little bit harder. They won a nice win for them against the Eagles in the first preseason game. I think Baltimore might be in line for a bounce-back season as well this season. They're going to have to figure out their new schemes with their new coach and whatever, though. But teams with a new coach like Baltimore, usually they do play well in the preseason, and they tend to try a little bit more, at least in that first game. But now we're looking at the second game here. Baltimore, as far as the rotation, I kind of doubt you're going to see Lamar Jackson in here. He's too injury prone. I don't think they want him back out there. Tyler Huntley, very experienced, but they would probably run kind of a vanilla offense with him out there. But they do have Joe Fagnano and Austin Reed, who they may want to kind of unleash and see what they have with those guys. So maybe Baltimore will run some more creative offense when those guys are out there. Minnesota, I don't know what they're going to be doing here. They already decided Kyler Murray is their starter. J.J. McCarthy is probably going to be heavily in the mix in this one to see if he improves probably. Carson Wentz, if he's out there, it's going to be probably more vanilla with him out there because he's we know he's been in the league for forever. They don't really need to see what they have with him or anything like that. And Max Brosmer, we've seen enough of him already. I'm surprised Minnesota still has him on the roster. It's because he's a Minnesota guy. I think that's why they kept him on the roster. But whatever. He went to University of Minnesota. I don't know. I don't have a good feel for this one. Money is kind of indicating on Baltimore. They're a bit of an underdog. They're a 3.5-point underdog. 83% of tickets, 91% of the cash on Baltimore. Them being an underdog probably indicates they're not playing Lamar Jackson in this game. I don't know, man. Huntley might be a little bit vanilla, like I said, with him out there. But with the other guys out there, Baltimore might kind of go a little bit more creative on offense. So maybe like Baltimore might start playing better in the second half, maybe when those guys are out there. But it's hard to predict who's even going to be first out of the quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Who's actually going to play. So I don't know. Maybe McCarthy will play with some motivation. Like I've been saying, because he lost the starting quarterback position. New Orleans and the Rams. How many games do we have here today? What the hell is this? I think we have 10. Rams, Sean McVay, I'm pretty sure he's notorious for not playing his starters in preseason, although maybe he started kind of playing them a little bit because it seems like when you don't play them, you have kind of a cold week one. They beat the Chiefs in their first preseason game. I don't even remember that game happening or remember even talking about it. I thought the Saints would win against the Jags, and they did not. They had a close loss in their first one. I like the Saints this season, though, to some degree. I think Shuck is actually the real deal. So I think the Saints might be kind of a surprising team this year, and they're in a very weak division. So, I think that they're going to be the team that's in contention with Tampa Bay to win that division. Anyway, for the Rams might be pulling out some stops on offense here because I think they want to see what they have in these quarterbacks like Ty Simpson, who they just drafted, whoever the hell Stetson Bennett the fourth is, and I doubt Stafford gets into this game. Very experienced quarterback, no need to get him injured, but Rams might run some more creative offenses with these other quarterbacks there just to try them out. New Orleans, they might be running a little bit more vanilla because their guys are just all kind of guys that have been in the league for a while now. Rattler, Zach Wilson. I have no idea who Hunter Deckers is, though. But Shuck, I don't know if he's going to get into this game. Maybe they might get him into the game a little bit to get him some work. I don't know. I think I might lean to the Rams again in that one, though. The money is not agreeing with me at all. And it looks way too easy to take the Rams at plus 1.5. Why would New Orleans be favored, right? The public is only going to be on the Rams here after what they saw last year. 86% of tickets, 62% of the cash on the Rams. But, of course, there is the thing. Sean McVay doesn't seem to really take preseason very seriously. So there is that. And New Orleans, do they have a new coach? I don't even remember. I'm going to have to remind myself of all that when I do an NFL preview show again. All right, Giants and Miami. I don't think we're going to be doing a G-Spot podcast for the preseason here, but Miami does have a new coach. They did not do well in their first preseason game. Well, usually newly coached teams usually do well in that first game. Miami did not, but now that Miami's coming off of an ugly loss, Miami might bounce back here. Giants are coming off kind of an ugly loss too, though, to the Vikings. And I know people kind of got mad. Jackson Dart, about Jackson Dart, taking too many hits again. But I'm like, dude, the offensive line, like, just totally failed on that play. Like, it was a blitz, and the guy was in the backfield. I think one of the backs was supposed to pick him up, and the guy was in the backfield in like a second. So, what was Dart supposed to do when he took that sack? I don't know. Apparently, Dart looks good in joint practice. That's another thing with these week 2 preseason, whatever. Like, you get these joint practices, and you can kind of gauge some things from those. Like, you can sometimes gauge one team looks better than the other in these joint practices, or looks like they're taking it more seriously. But on the other hand, teams might just go kind of vanilla in the joint practices and not show what they're going to show in the actual game. Giants also have a new coach, by the way. So both these teams have new coaches. They're both coming off kind of an ugly loss. Dart might get into this game again. I'm not really sure. Maybe to get him some more work, because they still kind of want to see. He's a work in progress. They still kind of want to see what they have with him. Winston is still there, and he's very experienced. So if he's out, Winston is just like, I don't know, he's a guy that slings it. So if he's out there, maybe he will kind of just do some crazy things. I don't know about Allen and Hainer, but Brandon Allen. There are too many quarterbacks named Allen. And then I know Miami has Malik Willis, and I forget who else they have. I actually kind of like Malik Willis as a full-time starter. Who knows? But he's interesting. At least he's a dual threat. And then Miami still has Quinn Ewers, so they drafted out of Texas last year, so they might be working those guys, seeing what they have there. And they have Cam Miller, who I forget who that is. And they have not Gronkowski from Iowa. I'm kind of surprised Gronkowski made the NFL, to be honest, because that Iowa team was more of a running team and defensive team. So I don't know. I don't know what to do with this game, to be honest. I mean, maybe an over. The money seems to be backing the under here, though. But both offenses might be a little bit more unleashed in this game after bad performances in the first game. So I don't know. The over makes some sense to me here. Money looks like it's heavily coming in on the Giants. 65% of tickets on Miami, 79% of the cash on the Giants. Do what you want with all that, of course. I don't have a good read on that game. Maybe the joint practices are saying something, and the Giants do look good in the joint practices. Chicago and Chicago and Cincinnati. Cincinnati won their first game against the Lions. Like I said, I think they did use Joe Burrow very briefly in that one. Bears looked really good in crushing the Browns, but the Browns, I mean, they had some really bad mistakes being made by their quarterbacks. I wouldn't take that much away from how the Bears looked in that one, really. The Bears probably look too good there, so maybe you want to look towards Cincinnati in this one, where Cincinnati, like, their coach seems to be not, like, totally avoiding preseason now in his mind, you know what I mean? Because I think he realized that Burrow was coming into every season way too cold because he wasn't playing in preseason. So Taylor seems to be playing his players now. As far as the Bears, I don't know if Caleb Williams is going to get out there or not. I'm not a huge fan of him, though. I like Tyson Bagent, who was their second quarterback in line. And if he's out there, he might do some cool things, which I don't know if he did in the last game or not, but he's looked decent in some of these preseason games in the past. They got old-timer Case Keenum, who they probably go really vanilla with him, but he's just an experienced dude. And then I don't know what they have with Miller Moss, who's pretty young, but it's a decent preseason quarterback rotation that the Bears have. Cincinnati, like I said, they might run more vanilla offensively because they have Joe Flacco, Josh Johnson. Like, those are two old men, dude. Like, those might be the oldest pair of quarterbacks in any quarterback room on the season. Or in the NFL this season, I mean to say. Money's backing the Bears here again. 62% of tickets, 93% of the cash on them. I mean, based on the fact that they looked way too good in the last game, I don't really love that, but I think they do have the better quarterback rotation, so maybe that's factoring into that. I don't know, man. Philadelphia, New England. New England had a tie because ties happen in preseason. They don't go to. I don't believe they go into overtime, or they play a short overtime. It was kind of an ugly game where maybe the Colts could have come away with a win in that game, but they did not, of course. Patriots wound up in a tie there. Philadelphia had an ugly loss to the Ravens in their first game, so Philadelphia might show up here, although both teams looked ugly in the first game, but I don't know. I mean, I think Philadelphia might be the way to look in this game because their first game was so bad looking. Philadelphia Jalen Hurts, I don't know if he's going to get into this game. I think he's an overrated quarterback, but I don't love their quarterback room here. Andy Dalton, they probably just go vanilla with him. He's old. Tanner McKee is just a guy that seems like he's just kind of a guy that they have as a backup at this point. No idea who Cole Payton is, but whatever. And then I already pointed out how bad New England's quarterback room looks, though. Like behind Drake May, maybe Drake May will play in this game a bit, but behind him, they only have Tommy Cutlets, Tommy DeVito, and Baron Morton, who they drafted out of Texas Tech. Maybe they'll try to get him out there and get him some work and see what they have with him. I don't know, man. I mean, I probably lean Eagles in this one. Not a strong opinion. Patriots look pretty public. 77% of tickets, 78% of the cash on them. Public is probably looking, oh my God, I get the Patriots as an underdog after what they did last year. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, Philadelphia laying points. I think they're laying points for a reason there. Kansas City and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay won their first game against the Jets. Big deal. 24-16, whatever. The Jets won yesterday, though, against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, not a whole lot going on with Pittsburgh in their game yesterday. Kansas City, I believe they lost, right, to the Rams. Is that what I said? Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how seriously Andy Reid takes preseason. I don't know what we're going to get from this game. I don't know what the quarterback rotations are really going to look like. I mean, I kind of doubt that Mahomes will get into this game. Don't want to get him injured again. He's coming back from injury, so probably some Justin Fields in the mix. Although he's experienced, but they probably won't do anything that crazy with him. Nussmeier, they might do something a little bit crazy with him. We'll see, because he's a young guy, so they might want to see what they have with him. And then Oladokun, whatever, Oladokun, however you pronounce his name. We'll see what happens, man. Kansas City, of course, they did get Kenneth Walker in the offseason, so they got him away from Seattle there, which is interesting. Kansas City, one of their huge problems last year was the lack of a rushing attack, and now they have Kenneth Walker, so I think Kansas City will take a bit of a step back forward this year as long as they stay healthy. I don't know about this preseason game, though. And then Tampa Bay, I mean, I don't know if you're going to see Baker Mayfield at all in this game or not. They got Jake Browning, who's like a lifetime backup quarterback. I don't know if they really are going to do anything with him. And then Basilak and Daniels, I guess, are kind of the younger guys who they might unleash a little bit more here. I don't know. I would kind of probably lean Kansas City here. I mean, Tampa Bay is a 5.5-point favorite, which is one of the highest numbers you'll see in the preseason. And yesterday that didn't work out because I think it was the Denver who was the biggest favorite yesterday. They were like a 6-point favorite, and they got killed. So I don't know if you can't really put too much weight into these big favorites here, man. A lot of times those teams won't actually really put in that much of an effort, man. So let me see. Yeah. 5.5 here, 70% of tickets, 91% of the cash on Tampa Bay. Seems like the public is kind of down on Kansas City after last year as well, but Mahomes got hurt, so, like, what do you want to do? And then, yeah, I think Kansas City's quarterback rotation might actually be a little bit better, too. So, yeah, I'll lean towards Kansas City taking the points. And then we have Dallas and Arizona. Arizona has played 2 games already. They lost the Hall of Fame game in a high-scoring game. Then they beat the Raiders last time. Dallas had a nice win in their first preseason game at Seattle, I believe, yeah, which was on Hard Knocks. So, nice win for Dallas there. I think maybe Seattle wasn't totally taking it that seriously, of course. I leaned Dallas in that one. Dallas, I mean, they've been kind of a laughing stock recently because they can't really get back to that level that they once were at. They do kind of have a quarterback battle going on for backup, though, between Joe Milton III and Sam Howell. They seem to not know which one of the guys they want to be the backup for Dak. So I think they are showcasing these guys and trying to figure out which one of them is better. So they're going to be running probably some more elaborate offenses with those 2 guys out there. I don't know if Dak's going to get into the game at all, but at least Dallas will be running some offenses. But I like what we've seen out of Arizona's offense so far, really, with Carson Beck. He actually looks decent, and I think he might actually be good. I don't know if he's going to play here because he's questionable. I think Gardner Minshew got into the game last time, too. He's experienced, so I don't know what to say about him. And then I guess Keaton Slovis, I don't really know what to say about him either. Jacoby Brissett, not sure if he's going to get into the game or not. He's Arizona's starter for the time being. But, yeah, I mean, if Carson Beck is healthy and he's going to get out there again, Arizona might be doing some things as well. So This game, I think, maybe looks more like an over, but the money is coming in heavily on the under in that one. The money is also backing Arizona. 63% of tickets on Dallas, 60% of the cash on Arizona at about -1. I don't know. I mean, Dallas, they're kind of, a lot of the times, to the more public side just because of their name, especially against a team that's not considered to be good, like Arizona. I don't know. I don't have much else to say about it, but I think that's it, man. That's going to do it. That's the show for today. My plays today, 2 of them that I gave out on the fly. One of them, the Tampa Bay Rays on the money line. We're going to be on first 5 under in Pirates-Dodgers, but I would see if you can get a 4 on that because not all the books had a number on it yet. I would much more prefer the 4 on that one. And then we're taking Phoenix in the WNBA plus the points. And then my other leans that I thought were pretty strong were the Seattle Mariners money line, first 5, and Giants Red Sox over the total were the other ones that I liked. But the market seemed to not really love them. Well, the market does actually seem to like Seattle to some extent, but I don't know, man. Hopefully I'm picking the right games here. That's going to do it. Learn to Toad on Twitter, Learn to Toad on Instagram, subscribe to the channel here, listen on audio, covered in Uke on YouTube as well, patreon.com/LearnToToad if you want to support me that way. Losercast every Tuesday night, and the Giants G-Spot podcast, which should be back at some point, but that's going to do it. I appreciate it. Peace. Thank you, sir. Yes. Peace. Is McKinstry still on the Saints? I don't even remember. He was. I don't know where he is now. But, yes, thank you, Charles. Peace out.
If the dark starts talking, hand me the phone. Let somebody answer. Let somebody know you do not have to lose this round alone. Hold on, not tonight, not now. You're still here now.